how to solve the beginner test that you did on Tuesday, right? Let's try to explain it. So first of all, the first question, I haven't read that yet, but yeah, let's have a look together. So we got the function hello, and we're expecting just to return hello, comma, space, and the name of the user, right? So technically speaking, that should be something as simple as doing user dot name, I believe. Exactly, right? And that's it. So the second question, welcome user. So welcome user. So we got welcome, comma, first name, space, last name, right? So what we need to do, you remember how to use string literals, right? So we could do welcome, comma, and then dollar, open and close curly brackets, user dot first name, space, user dot last name. Something like that. Yep. Can you explain what is the dollar sign? Yeah, so when you use string interpolation or template literals, you can use the backticks, right? So when you use backticks at the beginning and at the end, surrounding your entire expression, then you can mix pure strings, welcome, hard-coded strings, with variables. This is the variable. But how does JavaScript know that this is a variable user.firstname and not just you want to display user.firstname like a string, right? You don't want to display that, user.firstname. So the way to tell JavaScript this is a variable is surrounding the variable with dollar and curly brackets. Make sense? Any other question? No? Okay, so let's go on. Yeah, it works, right? So then the third one is slightly more complicated. So we want to calculate the total value adding 3 plus 5 and minus 2 plus 5, right? So this is an array. It's a good opportunity to start working with arrays. There are multiple ways to do that. I'm not going to show you the most efficient one, but probably the easiest one to understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called total equals 0, because yeah, that's like the starting point. And I know that at some point I will return total, right? This is the way I like to structure programs. I create a variable and then I'll return it. And now the chicken, the meat of the exercise is how to build up the total variable. So we got the array. So we can do array dot for each, which receives a function. Again, this is not the optimal solution, but it's probably the easiest one to grasp. So then we got the value, and then what we need to do is just say total is whatever total was plus the value, right? So the first time total is 0, and then in the first iteration we got total is equal 0 plus 3. So total will be 3. Next time total is 3. So total will be 3 plus the new value, 5, 8 in total. Yep.
A simple way to do it is return array square brackets 0 then plus array square brackets 1.
That's fine. You can do that as well. For that particular case, you could do return array 0 plus array 1. Do you know what's the difference between return array 0 plus array 1 compared to this solution? Exactly. You are right. It will make it. It will be equally valid. This is more flexible because we don't care if we have 1 value, 2 values, 10 values. It will work, right? But you are right. For that particular case, your example will work as well. Any question about this approach? So to me, right, so this will work, right? And I'm going to show you how we will do it. I will just return it just straight away. So what do I want to return? I want to return array.reduce. So then I will get the accumulator or the total if you want, and then the value. So then the only thing we need to do is the original total will be 0. So then we need to return total plus value. So the first iteration, total will be 0, value will be 3. So then for the next iteration, we will return 0 plus 3. So total will be 3. On the second iteration, total is 3 already. So then we'll return 3 plus the second element, which is 5, right? And as we are returning the expression, so that should make it. Exactly. Right, get first and last character. Do you know how to get the first character of a string? How can we do that? Character at. Okay, let's try that. Character at char at 0 plus string dot char at where? String dot length minus 1. Let's try that. It's correct. Char at is a good strategy, right? So that was probably the easy solution. I agree on that. And then we got the last exercise. It's slightly more complicated because we want to see if a piece of fruit is cheap or expensive, right? So yeah, probably I don't know how to do it, but the thing is, it will return cheap or expensive. So I need an if else. That's it, right? So again, structure, skeleton, let is cheap. We'll see the values, but then we'll return is cheap. So then in between, I want to do if whatever else, whatever else. That's the structure. That's what I like to do, and that's what I recommend you to do. First, think about the skeleton, right? When you're in construction, creating a building, you first have the skeleton, and then you start with all the decorators and the windows and doors and everything, right? So that's the skeleton. So if what? So if I need the argument here, right? So this is an object, so that's the fruit. So then we can say if fruit dot price is below 2, then return. We can even, I mean, look, we don't even need the variable, right? So we can even simplify that a bit. So simple, we can just make it inline. So we can return cheap. Else, return expensive. Does it make sense? Oh, sorry? Yeah, so yeah, correct. So that won't work probably because unfortunately the price is a string, right? So we would like to convert it into a number. We know that because we learned that this morning. So we can do number fruit dot price is below 2, is cheap, otherwise it's expensive. Is lower or lower equals?
Lower.
Lower equals.
No, why?
Go down to the
Below.
I don't even need to scroll down. I can just focus on the first example, right? On the first assertion.
Yeah.
So if it's 2, it's expensive. It's lower or lower equals?
Lower.
Lower, exactly. And it works, right? So all completed, and then you got the score of 99. Yeah.
Ricardo, I didn't use number method for this
Yeah.
test, but it worked.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're completely right. Yeah.
I didn't use number method, but
Yeah,
it worked.
yeah. So I'll show you. Using number is not mandatory. I'll show you why. That's a good point actually. So if we open a new snippet, let's create a new one.
I swear it was. Mine was 1.
Right. So let's have a look. So we got, let me make this bigger. So if we create a new variable called fruit price, right, equals 1.49. If I do fruit price is less than 2, and I run that example in a second, it returns true, right? The way to prove it works, if I change the condition, it returns false. So yeah, okay, that's a good starting point. But then what Vicky was saying is that even if fruit price is a string, it should still work. And she is completely right. Technically speaking, modern JavaScript managed to cast strings that look like numbers into numbers. This is valid. You can see that the result is good. My personal suggestion is don't do that, because to me, this, from a readability point of view, is complicated. It's complicated because I'm comparing a string with a number. I don't really like that. I prefer to be more explicit with my intentions. So I prefer to go here, even though it's not necessary, I prefer to do that. Number, because that proves that I really understand what I'm doing, right? It's not out of coincidence. I know this is a string, because if I know it's a string, I want to convert it into a number, and then it's a fair comparison, number versus number, right? So if we do that, obviously we get the same results.
Please return fruit price to the console.
So you want to do console.log fruit price, like that? Yeah,
Yes, please.
yeah, you got it here.
Why is it 1.49? What's that?
Well, that's what you just said, right? One line above.
But that's a string, and then
Yeah.
on the console, what's that for the console?
The console, that's a string as well.
But how do you know?
Well, because
There is a way it tells you that it's got like an arrow on it or it's got an
yeah, so there are a few ways. The easiest way is because of the colors. Because in Chrome, strings are white, but if we use number, it will probably change color to blue, or well, that thingy, right? You see a difference? It's,
Fine, but okay.
yeah, it's different color. This is white and this is violet. Yeah, whatever, different color, right?
Okay, but yeah, sure.
Any other question? No?
You know, I did that exact thing. The reason why I didn't go through on mine is because I didn't wrap the number.
No,
Would it still
No.
work without that?
no.
Would it?
I'm sure you failed somewhere else. Just because of the number.
100% that.
Okay, try again.
But that's what we
Try again.
just said. That
Probably you forgot to add return or you forgot something. Just because of the number, unless you are using a very old browser, which that could be a bad scenario, like Chrome 35 or something.
That's why my main confusion is all the brackets and everything. So I always
Yeah,
remember
cool.
brackets and stuff.
So I'll be back there. It's still recording, so is there any other question? No? Right, so you've seen it's not complicated. I took 7 minutes to complete the test, right? So it's just about thinking a bit, preparing the structure, right? I'm not going to keep adding lots of tests. I don't want you to do hundreds of tests. I want you to master the free tests that you have available. So keep working on them and you'll get better scores. That's it, right? Cool. Cheers.